Currently, Uganda has over 1.4 million people living with HIV, with women highly affected, representing 78%, compared to 69% of men, according to the 2023 World Health Organization report. Alarmingly, over 600,000 of these individuals are not receiving treatment. This raises concerns about whether Uganda's vision of ending HIV/AIDS by 2030 can be realized. To address these challenges, the Uganda AIDS Commission and its partners launched the National HIV/AIDS Action Plan for cultural institutions and traditional leaders in Uganda. The plan aims to involve cultural leaders in the effort to curb the spread of HIV/AIDS. While presiding over the launch, Minister for Kampala, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, delivered a message on behalf of Minister Babalanda. She emphasized that the NRM government under President Yoweri Museveni has implemented measures to combat HIV/AIDS and called on everyone to contribute to the cause.
His Excellency laid down 5 key pillars to guide all implementers as follows: engage men in HIV prevention and close the tap on new infections, particularly among adolescents, girls, and young women.
Babalanda urged cultural leaders to continue sensitizing their communities as their voices hold great influence and respect.
I call upon all the cultural institutions and traditional leaders in Uganda to use this action plan, focusing on the minimum package so as to cause mindset change and address the entrenched cultural practices that still contribute to the new infections that we see in this country.
Dr. Ruth Nantege, chairperson of the Uganda AIDS Commission, acknowledged the efforts of the Kabaka of Uganda, who has championed the fight against HIV/AIDS and accepted the role of goodwill ambassador.
People listen to you. Whenever you stand up and say something, if the Kabaka says, go and clean the streets, we shall go. If he says, go and get tested, we shall do what? Go. And I'm sure that's the same thing with the culture where you belong.
On behalf of the Director General, Tom Eti highlighted the challenges faced during the development of the action plan.
It's the community perception that, HIV is not a big threat. And that's why people are no longer fearing, and that is about the complacency within the community.
On behalf of cultural leaders, the Prime Minister of the Tieng Adola pledged their full commitment to support the national effort to meet the 2030 target.
I want to request my colleagues that the role we play as cultural leaders in society is not a small role. We may have our differences, as has been pointed out, but the community we are serving or we intend to serve must be protected.
Sarah Kaigi, chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on HIV/AIDS and Member of Parliament for Namisindwa District, appealed to cultural leaders to reconsider certain cultural practices that may contribute to the spread of the virus.
There are things we have addressed, but there are things we need to address more. Now, bringing on board the cultural leaders who are going to touch into our cultural practices, and they pick out those that are still fueling this.
The newly launched HIV/AIDS Action Plan seeks to harness the respected voices of cultural leaders to drive change and strengthen Uganda's fight against HIV/AIDS. Andrew Sebira compiled this report for UBC News.